Hey, what's up guys? It's Vivian. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 3 methods that I use to manifest with tarot cards. This video is going to be attached to an article which I'm writing for this awesome blog called Silver and Circle. I will put a link to that website in the description box so that you can check out the article for yourself. I actually have it on my tablet here and I'm going to be referencing it throughout the video. But I'm also going to be explaining things a little more in depth than what I specifically say in the article. And I'm going to be talking about the tarot spreads that I specifically designed for the purpose of answering the question, how can I manifest blank? So the blank is whatever you want in your life, whether it be a relationship or a new car or a new place to live or a new job, or usually it's a new thing. Usually it's not something that you had before, but sometimes it can be getting that thing back that you had before. So I'm just going to talk about what I say in the very beginning of the article, which is that your reality is a reflection of all the little different parts and pieces of you. So if you're looking at somebody or something and it's not exactly you, that's because it represents a small part of you, or it shares a part of your vibration with you, whatever state that it's in. So manifestation can even fix the state of a current relationship that you have with somebody. And that's one thing that I find really interesting. But it's all about vibration. And in the article, I also referenced the phrase as above, so below, as within, so without. One thing that's really interesting about manifestation that a lot of people don't talk about is the fact that it's witchcraft. And really, witchcraft and magic and spelling and spells are all things that can be tied back to ancient cultures. They didn't call it witchcraft, they didn't call it magic. It was just a part of their regular everyday lives. And these were people who were deeply connected to the flow of the universe and nature all around them. So a lot of these practices are really ancient. Tarot in specific is not, but divination is. For example, scrying, looking at the clouds, and if it's in the shape of an eagle, that means something. Or animal visitations. It's all pretty much the same thing as assigning meaning to something that has manifested in front of you. So with the tarot cards, pretty much what I'm going to explain here, I explain more in depth in a video I titled How Manifestation Really Works. I'm going to be dropping that in the description of this video as well. But to summarize what I say in that video, everything that possibly can manifest has manifested already. It already exists. What you're doing is you're tuning your vibration to match that situation, which I refer to as a timeline, thus the name of my channel, New Timeline Divination. I divine to help people manifest. That's why I don't always entertain questions such as, will I get this job, or will this person get with me? Because a lot of it has to do with your vibration and what you're doing for yourself. So the 3 methods that I designed are all to help you to tune your vibration, to take action, and to also recognize when you're being guided. So that's why there's 3 separate methods, and those 3 separate methods all have to do with the theory of yin and yang. So I talk about yin and yang a lot. On my website, all of my spreads are categorized into either yin yang or universal flow, which is the connection between yin and yang, or where the snake bites its tail. For the purposes of this video, I'm not going to go in depth about the meanings of yin and yang, but I will give just a general overview of what each thing means. So for the first method of tarot reading, which you can use for manifestation, I call it the yin method. And that is specifically talking about tarot spreads that cause you to remember things about yourself, maybe memories which caused a particular type of social conditioning for you, There is lots of other things you can find out about yourself, what kind of emotional triggers you have around specific situations, or how you actually feel about getting that thing you want versus, how you think you feel about getting that thing you want. So there's a lot under the surface that's called the subconscious. We have our conscious thoughts, right, which are more like the yang. Then we have our subconscious, which is operating pretty much all of our physical functions and everything, and that is the yin part of our consciousness. But yeah, finding out what's in your subconscious and basically talking to your subconscious, reprogramming your subconscious is what we're going to be doing with a yin tarot reading. So now I'm going to be talking about the yin method as I describe it in the article, and some additional information specifically for the video about how I would conduct such a reading. First off, I want to show off my yin Rider-Waite deck, which has the classic Rider-Waite images, but it's shiny, holographic. So I use this deck for readings, which I would call yin readings. So now I'm going to describe each placement in the spread. The first one is your vibration at present, which all of the spreads I designed have, so it just represents your situation, so what has manifested in the vibration of that. Second is the obstacle, which for the yin spread is the subconscious emotional block, so what's going on in here that maybe you're not aware of. Third position is what do I need to unlearn, and that would be the limiting belief. So I talk about the limiting belief in the article, so definitely go and check that out if you want to hear what I have to say about limiting beliefs. How can I shift the old energy? So that's the catalyst or turning point in the reading, what you can do to shift the old energy. Basically get out of the past and into the present. What part of me can I embrace with a resolution? So a lot of times what I'll discuss in my videos as well is what part of ourselves are we denying in a situation. This is something that we can get into with inner child work and shadow work and doing things like this. So if you're already familiar with those healing modalities, then a reading like this would be second nature to you. And the last thing is a daily self-care practice. Because for me, yin can also be about just self-care, self-love in general, and specifically our emotional inner world and subconscious, but also our physical bodies need a lot of care in order to manifest well. So doing things for the self, like I'll explain more about that later when I talk about flow, because really a lot of self-care practices can fall into the category of being a mix between yin and yang energies. So I'll go more into that later, but just a few more notes about a yin tarot spread or tarot reading is, you're going to want gemstones which connect you with your subconscious. So this is my amethyst that I have here. I also have this energy, which to me is really feminine because it's pink. That might just be my social conditioning, but really pink is a human color. Pink is the color of flesh. Pink is the color of our bodies. And the yin is usually seen as feminine, but what I like to say is like divine femininity is within all of us. So definitely take that into account, as it's not about rigid, stereotypical gender roles at all. So if you see yin and yang that way, you might want to consider some of that which is social programming and that which is innate or just intuitive, I guess. So I'm going to be talking about the next part now. So this is my yang Rider-Waite deck, and the reason why it's yang is because it's colorful. It's called the Illuminated Rider-Waite deck, and this is actually the very first one that I bought ever. And one of the main things about it is that it's playing card size, so it's really easy to shuffle and whatnot. So it almost has like kind of a fast energy to it, and so I'm I'm just going to show you a little bit of how I shuffle and how I read. So I kind of tend to read the cards that drop out like that. That's how I do a tarot reading, is through that kind of method, or if a card just pops off because of a movement that I've done. So I'll do more videos on how to actually give a tarot reading, the mechanics behind it. But this is all kind of assuming that you have your own way, the card meanings, so on and so forth. This next spread is also a 6-card spread, but it's going to be talking about your life force energy and how you use your life force energy. So this is the second spread from my article, and I'm just going to be talking about a little bit of each card position in the 6-card spread. It also has the vibration at present for its first card draw. And then for the second, as the obstacle would be what is draining me. So that can kind of lead back to maybe you need to do another yin spread, or maybe it can be something that you're doing every day. It's just going to show you what type of thing that you're doing or not doing that's draining your energy. Then the third is what habit is caused by this. So it can actually, maybe expand on it if that card already kind of says like, oh yeah, like what's draining you, your relationship thing. So I guess for the third, it would be like, what is this causing? And then be like, oh, how you're relating to people is causing you to, shy away from your responsibilities, would be like what this card would mean. So I'm just giving examples, not doing it for anyone in particular or anything. But maybe sometimes how we relate to others is really important, or simply how we relate to ourselves and objects around us. Number 4 is what can I seek inspiration from? So that would be how to get more energy, essentially. And sometimes this can be a physical thing, like exercise, or I don't know. But say you pulled this card, what can I get inspiration from? And I guess for this, it would be like kind of a weird thing. Well, this card is about power, so it would kind of be like, oh, you can get inspiration actually from where you feel disempowered and inspire you to, through being pissed off about it, do something about it. So you can get inspiration from anything. The card is going to tell you how to do it. What can I do differently? So if a card is showing you an action, or a person, maybe it's like sort of like, oh, maybe you need to become more like a person. So in this card, be like, oh, like a student, become a student. And yeah, like I said, you got to know the meanings of the cards. And eventually I'm going to post all the card meanings on my website. I'm really excited about that. The last would be a daily manifestation practice. So say you get the world. I would take this card as like, visualize your reality as being complete. Or get into the vibration of feeling complete somehow by visualizing, or I guess you can use gemstones for this. And yeah, the reason I talk about gemstones a lot is because they help me with my tarot readings. By the way, this is rhodochrosite, if I didn't say that before. But yeah, it's debatable whether it's a yin or a yang energy. This one, though, carnelian, is definitely a yang energy. And like this one is malachite, and it kind of just puts off a lot of energy. It's like really like, wah. But it has to do with the heart chakra, and it amplifies other energies. So it's definitely kind of a yang sort of thing. Selenite too, I think, because it's very clearing, and it's for the crown chakra. So these are more examples of gemstones that you can have around you in a reading to sort of lift the yang energy. So you can work with these gemstones as well, or you can even place objects around you or listen to music during the reading, which makes you feel electrified and excited, and other sorts of things. And maybe what I didn't mention before for the yin is you can do the same thing. Listen to calming music, put objects around you that make you feel calm, sniff some lavender, things like this. So all of these type of things will enhance the qualities of the reading that you are attempting to achieve. So last type of reading that I'm going to talk about is called universal flow, and that is the connection between yin and yang, or knowing when to do things and when not to do things. So I have the Thoth deck by Aleister Crowley and Lady Frida Harris. So the reason why I pulled out this deck to talk about universal flow is because I feel that the symbols are the most sort of powerful, universal, really kind of just speak on a deeper level. And they're highly esoteric, so some are more like on the artsy side. This deck was really intentionally put together by people who understand that the universe communicates through symbol. So, I mean, the Rider-Waite deck was as well, and you can use any deck you like for any reading, but for me, I like to designate and pick specific decks, especially since I personally have a relationship with each tarot deck that I have. What you're going to use each one for is different. So that's important to remember and acknowledge for when you start your reading. So all the positions in the third spread talk about how to basically go with the flow, or be like water, as Bruce Lee would say. And really what I think be like water means is be like ether, be like the ethers. See what's trying to be communicated to you through what has manifested in front of you, things like this. So talk about each position of this spread. So like every other spread, I have the vibration at present position for number 1. For the obstacle, I have resistance. So resistance is kind of like when there's an energy that blocks what's ever manifesting to you from the desire. I guess they call it resistance, and this is the most familiar term that's out there. But really, it's resonating with a vibration of lack, or the strong desire to have something is communicating to the universe to reflect that it's not there, that you want it. And so the more you want something, or the more you think about something, the less likely it is to manifest, because you've built up what spiritual people refer to as resistance. So that's the obstacle for this spread. What can I let go of? So yeah, it's specifically talking about like what part of this thing that you're manifesting is an attachment to the outcome. What's causing you basically to like ruminate on this? What makes you so attached is what the third placement is going to show you. What current can I flow with? So when I talk about a current, I'm talking about perhaps like a feeling or a vibration that maybe matches what it is that you're seeking. So things with a similar vibration are going to pretty much lead you to that thing. And I have another card position in this spread that directly relates to that, but this is more kind of like about a feeling. So it's kind of like, oh, you're trying to manifest something exciting? Well, then go and do things that have the feeling of excitement, or think about things that have the feeling of excitement. And that's going to lend itself to the flow, because you're going to see where those things are, and you're like, okay, yeah, I'll go towards those things. That would be, okay, so number 5. Number 5 is, how can I be more open? And so this is kind of like something that I wanted to share with you, a little story about a conversation between me and my friend. So the other day I was at the Ocean Beach Farmers Market, and my friend Mike walked up to me, and of course I was feeling down. He always shows up when I'm not feeling so well. And he starts, sort of going on his little rants and giggling and talking about esoteric things. And he was talking a bit about science as well. And he was talking about the invisible consciousness that exists between everything, which is actually nothingness. So he was saying, oh, be nothing and you'll be everything. So that's an example of letting go, is being able to be nothing. So being nothing is something highly skilled meditators can do. So meditation practice will help you with this. But the tarot spread asking this as the 5th placement in the spread is going to show you where you're closed off. Or basically it's like a limiting belief, but almost like, what are you not open to? What part of your consciousness is saying no? So it's going to show you how you can be more open, maybe through that or through practice, which would then go back to the yang spread. How can I do that practice? And I talk about interplay in the article, so that relates a lot to flow. So definitely go and read the article and read the section where I talk about interplay between yin yang and universal flow. So the very last placement in this spread is called the follow card, and this is a method that I devised with my mom when I was talking to her on the phone. She was pulling cards for me, because that's just something that we do together for fun. And I was like, you know what? Pull a card, and then whatever symbol is on the card, or whatever the card is, I'll just look for that symbol, and I will go with that. At the time, I was looking for a ride to San Francisco, and I was like, I'm just going to follow that symbol, and whatever it is, I'll just go towards it. So I'm going to give an example about how a person might do that. So say you pull the sun card. A good example about how to follow this energy would be like going out during the day, going somewhere where it's really sunny. Look at pictures of the sun. If you see a picture of the sun somewhere, which is incredibly common, but you would follow that. The other energy of the sun is like, for example, it's got two children playing. So like if you saw two children playing somewhere, you'd take it as a sign. This particular card also has the entire zodiac wheel on it, so you would look at the art of the card as well. So maybe if you saw something about astrology somewhere, or you met an astrologer, you would want to talk to that person. You knew that person had some kind of particular information for you if you wanted to achieve that goal and manifest that thing. And I have used this spread several times, or not spread, sorry. I have used a follow card several times to get things that I really wanted, specifically to figure out that I wasn't going to San Francisco, and I am going to give an example of that whole process that I went to, and all of the people that I ran into that day, which specifically fit those archetypes. That's what I'm going to talk about in this next video that I make specifically about the follow card. But the article explains it. Essentially, how I explained the article is the tarot cards are Morpheus, you're Neo, and you're supposed to follow the white rabbit. You know, which she ends up following a girl with a white rabbit tattoo. So it's very similar to that. It's kind of like looking at your surroundings, imagining that the computer is throwing up a program trying to show you something. Like, for example, Four of Cups, you would follow, like maybe you would go to a bar if you saw like 4 cups on their sign. Or, you know, it said luxury, so maybe you might go somewhere that has like an air of luxury to it. Maybe then there you'll meet a person who's gonna take you somewhere, or maybe you don't, but it lines you up with the experiences that you need to manifest that thing. So give it a try. I'm really excited to see what people do. Post a comment if you try this and it works, because it works for me pretty much every single time. I hope that it also works for you guys, and I'm really interested to see the type of results that could come from this particular manifestation technique that I've created, and I want to see what kind of luck that people have with it. So the last thing I want to talk about with universal flow is gemstones that I use for that. So basically I use selenite to, well, I talk about it as a yang stone, but for me it's about clearing the auric field to allow energy to roll on through. So that's the thing, is like your energetic field is kind of, you know, sometimes collecting energies from everything around you. So selenite's going to help kind of sweep that up. Talk about gemstones more in other videos as well, because I'm pretty much addicted to gemstones. If anybody knows me, they'll know that I have a huge collection of gemstones just laying around. Yeah, I'd love to tell you guys more manifestation stories and how of the things that I've manifested in my life. But I'm going to tell you, there's a reason why I use these methods. It's because I give myself tarot readings every day, and I've had a lot of success in actually getting things that I want. So when I debut these spreads online, you're going to be able to get them with me through my website. So for you, as always, I've left the website in the description box, along with some other things that you might want to check out, various links that I personally find relevant to this topic. And yeah, like I said, I want to hear you guys' comments on what you think about this and how it's worked for you. Feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Blessed be.